Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Thank you once again for joining chapter number 7 of Bhagavad Gita entitled Knowledge of the Absolute. Verse number 15 in Sanskrit. No mam dushkriti no mudha prapadyante naradhama mayaya aprita jnana asuram bhavam ashritaha. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, who are lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Welcome to all of you. Thank you so much for joining. And so far in this chapter number 7, we have been covering different topics. First of all, since this chapter is entitled Knowledge of the Absolute, which is the Supreme Lord Himself, Krishna is talking about his opulences. He explains to Arjuna that he is the taste in the water, he is the intelligence of the intelligent, he is the ability in man, he is the seed of all existence, which means whatever we see in this creation, everything comes from Krishna. He is the seed-giving father. He tells Arjuna, Aham bija pradaha pita. I am the seed-giving father of all living entities. And then just 2 or 3 verses before he says, Mataha paratarannanyat kinchit asti dhananjaya. He says that everything rests upon Krishna as pearls are strung on a thread. So as I was explaining last Tuesday, if we have a bunch of pearls, we cannot really use them as a necklace until and unless we run it through a thread. So it is the thread on which all the pearls are resting. So similarly, Krishna is giving that analogy to let us know that everything rests upon Krishna like the pearls are strung on a thread. He's like that thread. And then one verse before this, which is verse number 14, Krishna tells us, Devi hi isha gunamai mama maya duratyaya. That this divine energy of mind, this material world in which we are, he says is very difficult to overcome. But he says, those who surrender unto me, they can easily cross beyond it. So this material world, according to Bhagavad Gita, is stated as Dukhalayam Ashashvatam. Dukhalayam means it is full of misery, and Ashashvatam means it is temporary. And we have all noticed, either we ourselves have experienced it or we have seen others experience it. Of course, we have experienced birth, disease, and some of us old age also. And definitely there's going to be death. Because Bhagavad Gita says, for those who are born, they are sure to die. And after death, they are sure to be born again. So these are the miseries anyway. Plus, there are miseries caused by the material nature, miseries caused by the body and the mind, and miseries caused by others to us. So here, Krishna is saying that it is very difficult to cross this material ocean. But if one surrenders unto me, then they can easily cross beyond it. Now, because he talked about surrender, now the next 2 verses, like today's verse and next Tuesday's verse, he's going to give us the symptoms of one who surrenders to Krishna and symptoms of one who does not surrender. So guess what? The bad news is today we are learning symptoms of one who does not surrender to Krishna. But the good news is next Tuesday we learn about those 4 kinds of people who surrender to Krishna. So the 4 kinds of miscreants, he calls them dushkritina, which means miscreants. Just like we see in the state, like I am in the state of Georgia. So if I want to be a good citizen, then I need to follow the laws of the state. Now, once I follow the laws of the state, then I don't have to worry because I am doing what I'm supposed to do. But if I break the law of the state, then definitely I will be punished and put behind bars. So there are quite a few people who do not want to follow the laws of the state, and so they end up getting punished. Now, the same applies in spirituality also. If we do not follow the laws of the Supreme Lord, then we are punishable. Now, who are the kinds of people who end up in prison? It could be those who are thieves or murderers or whatever it may be, whatever the reason may be. So there are different kinds of people who end up in prison. Similarly, here Krishna is talking about four kinds of people. He calls them miscreants because they are disobeying the laws of the Lord. So what are those four kinds of people? He says the first one is mudha. Mudha means grossly foolish, not just foolish, grossly foolish. Why? Because after getting this rare human form of life, if we do not use it for self realization, if we just use it to eat, sleep, and be merry, then that's being very foolish because human form of life is very, very rare and it's very valuable, where we have the intelligence to come out of the cycle of birth and death. The second kind of person he says is Naradhama. Nara means man, Adhama means lowest, lowest among mankind. The third is Mayaya Aprita Jnana. Jnana means knowledge, someone whose knowledge or intelligence has been stolen away by illusion. And the fourth one he calls is Asuram Bhavam. Asura means demon. Bhavam means, that nature, so demoniac in nature. So these are the four kinds of people Krishna is explaining to Arjuna, that they do not follow the laws of the Supreme Lord. They do not surrender to Krishna. Now, it's good to know this so that we can contemplate on our lives and see, do we fall in any of these four categories? I hope not. And possibly we fall in those four categories that we are going to learn in the next class, which will be next Tuesday, about four pious kind of people. He calls them miscreants, but those who surrender, he calls them as pious people, someone with a lot of piety in their credit. So those who are devoid of piety, they are the ones who do not surrender to Krishna. And they are not considered very learned because they are wasting the valuable human form of life. Because without following, just like without following the state laws, the citizen cannot be happy. Similarly, without following the laws of Krishna or the Supreme Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead, it is not possible to be happy in this world. And it is not possible to overcome the miseries of life also. We may try to adjust. We may say, okay, if I do this, maybe if I change my job, maybe if I change my spouse, maybe if I change my house, or if I change my car, I'll be happy. But there is no guarantee there's going to be happiness. Bhagavad Gita shows us the way how we can be happy permanently, not that we are happy today and unhappy tomorrow. So as we learned in all these chapters, right from chapter 1 onwards till 6, Krishna was explaining about Bhakti Yoga. He says that's the easiest way to achieve liberation, easiest way to become self-realized. And Bhagavad Gita shows us. Now, one may say, if Krishna is saying these are the four kinds who do not surrender, now the word surrender is very significant. Most people, they get scared with this heavy word called surrender. Say, oh, surrender means, does that mean I have to give up everything? I have to lose control of my life, let Krishna control my life. Oh, that's not going to be a very pleasant situation for me because I like to be the controller. I like to control my spouse, my children, my family, my friends, my colleagues, everybody I like to control. Want everything to go the way I want it to be. But are we the real controllers? No, we cannot control aging. We are growing old every year. We cannot control that. We cannot control disease. We, cannot control, being born again or dying. Everyone has to die. According to Bhagavad Gita, everybody, those who are born, they are sure to die, and after death, they are sure to be born again. So, if we are unable to control our body, if we are unable to control others, in fact, we cannot even control the blinking of our eyes. We try to, keep them open as much as possible, but after a while, we need to blink. That's also beyond our control. So we are not the controllers. The only controller is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So here, if one really wants to be happy permanently, then we need to follow the instructions, the laws of the Supreme Lord. And for that, faith is very necessary. In fact, to do anything in life, we need faith, at least the basic faith. For instance, I want to learn to dance. Now, I need to first find a bona fide teacher, someone who's certified, someone who has experience, there are good reviews of that teacher. It's a recognized, place where the classes are held, etc., etc. Now, once we find that out, then I would need to have that basic faith that if I go to this certified teacher, I will be able to learn to dance and I will also become proficient in it. Once I have that basic faith, and if I go to that teacher with that faith, then with the help of knowledge from the teacher, the way the teacher teaches me, shows me practically, teaches me dancing, then I can somehow or the other become an expert in dancing. But that basic faith is required. Similarly, to understand the Bhagavad Gita, it's important to have that basic faith. When we have that faith, then it is said, Adau Shraddha Tatha sadhu sangha bhajana kriya anartha nibriti. So when we have the basic faith, then we associate with like-minded people. We associate with those who are interested in learning Bhagavad Gita, who are interested in realizing oneself, who are interested in being happy permanently. So then when we associate with like-minded people, then we start putting Bhagavad Gita into practice. So there is theory and then there is the practicals. Once we start doing that, and one main part of practicals is to do mantra meditation. Man means mind, tra means to free the mind of all anxieties. So when we chant the holy names of the Lord, the Maha Mantra, then gradually the heart starts getting purified. And then whatever we are hearing starts making sense. And then we start understanding the purpose of human form of life. Materialistic life is okay, but it doesn't give us permanent happiness. Why is it that most people are not interested in realizing themselves? Most people are not interested in understanding who they are. They're not interested in having a goal in life. They have no idea about the Supreme Lord. They just make their own plans, and then when those plans fail, then they are in misery. So here, Krishna is explaining to Arjuna the symptoms of four kinds of people who do not surrender unto him. In fact, we have tried, I'm not sure about all of you, but I have also tried, to find happiness in material things. That maybe if I get a new iPhone, I'll be happy. Maybe if I get a new car, I will be happy. Of course, I haven't thought about, really big things, but these small things, but the happiness is short-lived. It's the mind that plays the games. There is a saying that mind is a fool. When hot, wants cool. When cool, wants hot. Desires that which is not. You know, we want things that are sometimes beyond our reach, and that hankering for those things leads to lamentation. There is a very nice story about this person who was very poor. He was in a village in India. He was very poor. And one day he happened to, you know, just talk to his neighbors and, was um, not very happy. He was like, I wish I had some money, I would be living a more peaceful and happy life. If I could meet be able to get the necessities of life, etc., etc. So in that village, there is called a zamindar, the head of the village. And he was talking to his assistant, and his assistant told him that, this zamindar landlord, the owner of that village, he thought everyone in his village is very happy. And the assistant said, no, you have no idea at all. I can show you that, the minds of the people in your village, they are very, very sentimental. They are very shaky. They are hankering. They are frustrated, etc., etc. So this owner of the village said, well, show me how. So he said, okay. He took a bag and he put gold coins in that bag, and he left it outside the small little hut of this person who was lamenting. He left it over there overnight. Now this guy, when he came out in the morning, he saw, oh wow, someone has left me a gift. So he took that little bag pouch, and he went inside his little hut, and he opened, and he was shocked. There were gold coins in them, gold coins. And so what he did, he started counting the gold coins, 1, 2, 3, 4, and he saw there are 99 gold coins in that bag. Instead of being happy that now all the problems of his life were solved, he has so much money, he can do whatever he wants to do, he can have, luxuries. Why just necessities, even luxuries? But instead, he started lamenting. He started lamenting, I wish there was one more gold coin to make a round figure of 100. He is lamenting about one gold coin and forgot the happiness of 99 gold coins that he had. That is called the 99 Club. And most people in this world are in that 99 club. They have so much, but they still want more and more and more. Why? Because they are not satisfied with what they have. And the mind is very restless, as Krishna is telling Arjuna to control the mind. But Arjuna is saying the mind is restless, it's turbulent, it's obstinate, it's very stubborn. But Krishna says, yes, I know. It is difficult to control the mind. It's easy to control the wind than to control the mind. I'm pretty sure all of you who are, listening to the Bhagavad Gita, I'm sure your mind has gone out of the Zoom class a couple of times, gone somewhere else, thought about something else or whatever, and then come back. That's how the mind works. It reacts unnecessarily. In fact, the mind, it is possible to control, Krishna tells Arjuna, by suitable practice and detachment. And how is that possible? Just by taking on the knowledge. Unfortunately, most people in this world, they are more concerned about the body, which means they are concerned about the hardware. What about the software? What about the heart? What about the spirit soul? You see, there's no point in just having the hardware working okay, like have a toned body or healthy body. Yes, healthy body is necessary, but if the food is only going for the body but not for the soul, then it's not a very good situation. The temples are actually the temples where we go for worship is actually called a mandir. Man means mind. It is a place where there is a place to treat the mind. It is a mandir. We go there to treat our mind, to train our mind, to discipline our mind, so that the mind is able to, understand the purpose of human life. And the previous verse, Krishna clearly said, Devi hi esha gunamai mama maya duratya, very difficult. This, he says, this divine energy of mine is very difficult to overcome. We make plans, but do all the plans, get fulfilled? Or do they reach their ultimate goal? Most probably not. So here Krishna is calling them Dushkritina. Dushkritina means miscreants. And these four kinds of miscreants, the first one he talks about is a mudha, which is grossly foolish, working hard, very, very hard. It's like, you can say, like a beast of burden, sometimes doing two jobs just to get some more money. But we forget, we learned in chapter 3 and 5 and also 5 of Bhagavad Gita, which is entitled Karma Yoga, Action in Krishna Consciousness, where Krishna explains to Arjuna that based on our past activities, our past karma, we are entitled to happiness or distress in this life. There's nothing we can do about our past karma. It's all done and gone. So whatever we are doing now in the present is going to decide our future. Our past is already done and gone. There's nothing we can do about it. So right now we are facing the reactions of our past karma. So instead of concentrating on that, why not understand Bhagavad Gita and try to do karma-free work, which means there are no more reactions. We do not try to accumulate more and more reactions, which would mean that in future we will again have to suffer, or there may be happiness or distress based on our present activities. So these mudhas, these grossly foolish, they're working very hard, just like a beast of burden. We have heard about, an ass or a donkey. What is it, especially in India, what the washermen do, they have a donkey or an ass, they own one, and then they put a heavy load on the ass, and they put a stick in front of the ass and dangle a carrot in front. So when the ass is looking at the carrot, the ass thinks, if I walk a little more, I'll be able to get the carrot. But as soon as the ass starts walking, the carrot starts moving too, because it's on a stick. It's dangling on a stick. It's not that the ass is good. And there is no need for the ass to carry such heavy burden when the ass can easily get grass on the street, on the side of the street. You see? So, but the ass does not realize, because it doesn't have that intelligence. But we as human beings have intelligence, and we can understand what is the purpose of life, especially the human form of life. So one should not be like a mudha, like grossly foolish, where we waste our time in just working hard day in and day out. We should do as much as necessary to keep the body and soul together. In chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Dehi no asmin yatha dehe, kaumaram yauvanam jara, tatha dehantara praptir, thiras tatra namuya. He's asking us to become sober. He says, as the spirit soul continuously passes from boyhood to youth to old age, similarly, the soul passes on to another body at the time of death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. Now, how do we become sober so we understand that the difference between body and the soul? If we start understanding Bhagavad Gita, then we'll start understanding that we should not be grossly foolish, not be so passionate about more money, trying to enjoy this and trying to enjoy that with no goal in life. Most people, if we ask them, especially when I talk to them and I ask them, why don't you come and join the Bhagavad Gita class? They say, no time. I have so much to do. I have to learn to swim. I need to do here. I need to go on vacation, etc., etc. Yeah, sure, you can do all that, but at least find some time to find out the purpose of human life, because temporary happiness is not going to give us permanent peace of mind. No. So instead of wasting valuable time for temporary gain, why not use this very valuable human form of life to understand that I am the spirit soul? This is not my home. It's like fish out of the water. My constitutional position is to be in the spiritual world, in the spiritual body. This is not my home. This body that I have got is on lease, just like we sign a lease when we rent an apartment. So this is like an apartment on lease. Once the lease expires, I will be kicked out of this body. The second kind of person Krishna talks about, so first is Mudha, grossly foolish. The second one he says is Naradhma, lowest among mankind, which means, like, for instance, we see some people are civilized and some are uncivilized. Someone may be socially developed, but someone may not be. But if someone does not follow the laws of the Supreme Lord, does not follow the regulative principles of human life, then that person is considered lowest among mankind, because that person is behaving like an animal. Eat, sleep, have babies, and defend. These are the four activities that the animals do. But the humans, they need to do something beyond that. And that is to try to understand the purpose of human life. So if we misuse this human form of life, then we are considered to be Naradhma, because intentionally we are rejecting the laws of Krishna. And it is the duty of the parents, to guide, to help their children to, understand this very, very important spiritual science of Bhagavad Gita, so that they can understand, they can learn, and they can understand that as they grow up in this material world, they, just as we teach them to follow the laws of the state, to be good citizens, just like when we drive, when I drive my car on the highways, I follow the laws of the traffic rules, because if I don't, then I will be in trouble. So similarly, just like we want to be good citizens following the state laws, similarly we also need to follow the instructions, the laws that are being set by Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then he Krishna talks about Mayaya Aprita Jnana. That means the knowledge is stolen by illusion. When is there illusion? Whenever there is lack of knowledge, there is illusion, because there is no realization. So knowledge is very important. I'm not talking about academic knowledge. One may be very scholarly, very, very well educated, but if the person does not know the laws of the state or laws of the Supreme Lord, is misguided and disobeys the laws of the Supreme Lord, maybe because too puffed up with material knowledge or whatever it is, then that person is in illusion, which means Mayaya Aparita Jnana. The knowledge is being stolen away by illusion. Intelligence is stolen away by illusion. So it's important to understand that when we are especially trying to understand the Bhagavad Gita, that we accept the knowledge which is very authorized, not unauthorized interpretations. No, we as human beings, we have four defects. We have tendency to make mistakes, we are in illusion, we have imperfect senses, and we have a tendency to cheat. So if we have these four defects, that means we are not perfect. And if we are not perfect, how can we give perfect knowledge? Perfect knowledge comes only from the perfect source, which is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. In fact, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Avajananti Mamudha, that some foolish people, they deride me when I appear in a human form. They don't understand what is the position of Krishna. And they, just call him a very famous personality or a very strong personality. No, he is the supreme personality of Godhead. Now, the fourth kind of miscreant that Krishna is talking about today is Asuram Bhavam. Ashritaha. Asuram means demon-like nature. So demoniac in nature, which means not following any rules or regulations. Absolutely none. So then because they are not following, then they decry the Supreme Lord and they do not surrender, which means they don't follow the laws of Krishna. So Krishna is saying that these are the four kinds of people who do not surrender unto me, who do not follow my instructions, even though the scriptures clearly give us the identity of God. Now, in the Bhagavad Gita itself, we learned in chapter 5, the very last verse, Bhoktaram Yagna Tapasam, Sarva Lokam Maheshwara, Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam Gnatva Mam Shantim Richati. Krishna says that I am Maha Ishvara, I am the Lord of everyone. And in 10th chapter, he says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mataha sarvam pravartati. He says, everything, everybody emanates from me. Everyone comes from Krishna. In the Brahma Samhita, there is a beautiful verse where Lord Brahma explains, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha. That Ishvara Parama, Parama Ishvara, Parameshwar, the topmost Supreme Lord is Krishna himself. Then in Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a summary of the Vedas, we read, Ete chamsa kalapamsa Krishna stu Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna, you yourself are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So from Vedic scriptures, we come to know the references we get that who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that is Krishna. So when the scriptures are clearly giving his identity, but then there are these four kinds of people who do not want to accept that. They do not want to accept any authority. So these are the four kinds of people who do not surrender. But now next Tuesday will be good news. We will read about the symptoms of four kinds of people who do surrender unto Krishna, and they are considered to be pious people. That means they have accumulated a lot of piety. According to the Bhagavad Gita, it is not by chance that all of you are today here listening to the Bhagavad Gita. No. It is because you have accumulated piety in your past that you've got this opportunity to hear Bhagavad Gita. And sometimes we do get opportunity and still we don't take advantage of it. Now that is, of course, our choice. Based on our past piety, we get the opportunity. But what do we do with that opportunity is our personal choice. Krishna tells us in Bhagavad Gita chapter 15, Sarvasya chaham hridi sanivishto matah smritir jnanam apohanam cha vedescha server aham eva vedyo vedanta krit vedavid eva chaham. He says, I'm situated in everyone's heart, and from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. And Krishna says, I am the compiler of the Vedas, and I am to be known from the Vedas. That is the purpose of Bhagavad Gita, to understand Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And besides that, to even understand who we really are, to understand this material nature, to understand how this eternal time is working, and also to understand how karma works. So all these 5 subject topics we can understand from the 18 chapters, 700 verses of the Bhagavad Gita. So today we have learned about 4 kinds who do not surrender. And as always, we end our session by chanting our, the Maha Mantra for a couple of minutes so that, we can get a little bit more peaceful. I'm going to post some links in the chat if you would like. There's the Zoom link. I know some of you have joined for the first time. I think Hillary and Celine and Rita, I think you all have joined for the first time. welcome to all of you. And if you would like to hear the previous classes on Bhagavad Gita, you can go to the YouTube channel, or you can join the WhatsApp group where I post some realization on a daily basis. So at the bottom of the links, you will see the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This is the Maha Mantra that can help us to not only control the mind, but also to make ourselves happy and peaceful. So these are the beads on which I chant every day. So I'll just chant for a few minutes, and I would humbly request that you also please chant with me, and you will see the difference also. And then after that, we'll open up for any questions or comments you may have. Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So thank you all so much for joining, and I hope you can come again next Tuesday. If anyone has any questions, you're very welcome to ask, or any comments.